I've been trying to understand this message that God is speaking to me, but I think I'm feeling like it's just time to go ahead and speak it. He's going to reveal it. Yesterday I read to you from Isaiah 33 and Ezekiel 7 and talked about what God has been talking with me about. And today again, he's bringing me to Isaiah 33, but he also directed me to Isaiah 24, in part because, or through, this offering that I am living out. Yesterday was an eventful day in terms of, receiving insults and attacks and accusations. I think the doozy of all was receiving a message about how I am for profit, Profit, not profit, Prophet, which is very interesting because I've never asked you guys for anything. I give the books for free, and I've given everything that I ever had, great wealth, in order to serve you so that I would never be a burden to you, even to the point that my home is in, it has already been auctioned. That is an incredible accusation. And also, taking my offering and the things I share with you about what I'm suffering right now, such as my home being up for auction and me now being sued by the banks. But God's got a plan for that too. So just letting you know, I'm letting you know so that you understand what I've given to serve you. This is not a game for me. This is not something that I'm receiving any secondary gain for. This is something that not only have I given it to you for free, but I have poured myself out. I have given my resources in order to give this to you. I have given everything that I ever had in order to invest in God's house. And this was one of the accusations that came at me yesterday, that I'm doing this for profit and that it is my own fault and I'm not taking responsibility. You know, you don't have to take my word for it the way that I lived previously, because the evidence is in the fruit. I was a very wealthy woman, able to purchase 2 properties, 1 residential, 1 commercial. It's hard enough for people to buy themselves a house, period. So I obviously was responsible enough to have good credit and to have saved the money to have purchased these properties. I obviously was responsible enough to where I was entrusted with that. So it wouldn't make sense that I suddenly became irresponsible. By the way, also doing this as a single woman, it's not, and with no family. Both my parents were dead by the time I did any of this, and neither of them had some inheritance for me. I did this as a single woman and a single mother. I was extremely responsible. So to imply that I somehow all of a sudden became irresponsible and that what I'm dealing with right now is the result of irresponsibility and unaccountability is like next level absurd. Why would I make irresponsible decisions that were in opposition to anything that any human being would even want to do? I did this to serve you guys, to serve God first, and to serve you, and to prove to God the genuineness of my faith, that I would indeed give everything, and that I would indeed hold nothing back to serve him, and I would do whatever he said, even where it doesn't necessarily make sense, provided that he provide me a witness that he's telling me to do that. Because if something doesn't make sense, you need to know that you're not making it up and that it's truly coming from God. This is how I've lived. God is my witness that this is how I've lived. The people I've worked with, though I don't know that any of them are here to even testify to this, but they should be here to testify to it, that I never asked them for a dime. That I did workshops and assemblies and phone calls and text messages without limit. I have given without profit. So the 2 things that God was bringing me to, and the 2 things that I was also calling out to him, that I just waste away. This is in his word. I know it's in his word. He pulled me toward that statement in Isaiah 24, that I'm just wasting away. as I do this ministry. And I don't necessarily mean physically, although my body is wasting away. As I go through this and I'm coming towards the end of my life, I'm not wasting away because of age. I'm wasting away because of the suffering. My body has become more frail and weak and small. But the wasting away that I'm calling out to him about is not necessarily about that. It's about the wasting away of just, there's nothing to me. There's no power. There's no sense of importance. There's no nothing. There's nothing that I had at one time of the flesh. When you live according to the flesh, you work out and your body is strong. You focus on the flesh. You're always focused on, what am I eating? What do I look like? My clothes, my makeup, my, whatever. My importance in the world. You're focused on your glory, your status, your reputation. I'm not focused on anything like that anymore. I have faded into the background. There's nothing important about me. There was a lot that was important about me to the world previously. Even though, you say that and you think, oh yeah, you were so loved at that time. I was never loved when I was of the world. No one's going to love you except for God. That's the bottom line. And the people in whom God resides. So, a lot of what I was taking up with him is, I did all of this. You're my witness. And I'm despised. I'm despised for it. It sure makes you realize the sacrifice of Christ. It really does. To go through this, to be accused of these things, I can only imagine him having that proverb that he prophesied was going to be quoted at him, physician, heal thyself. He healed others, he can't heal himself. Having his clothing, having people cast lots for his clothing, the last thing left that he had here. I'm getting it, I'm starting to understand. And I was reminded of, reading Isaiah 33 yesterday, and how it says in verse 7, look, their brave men cry aloud in the streets, the envoys of peace weep bitterly. The highways are deserted, no travelers on the roads. The treaty is broken, and I explained to you, that's supposed to say the covenant. We all know what the covenant is, and we understand when the word says the covenant is broken. Don't nobody understand what the treaty is when there's no concept of a treaty even expressed here. The stupid translators don't care. They don't care if you receive the correct message. They've made that clear. They've made it clear that their hearts were not in it. The covenant is broken. And I'm going to show you in Isaiah 24 where we know that this is the covenant. And also, if you look up the original word, it's the word covenant. It's the concept of covenant. Is there some other treaty we're talking about? Then why are we calling it a treaty? The covenant is broken. Its witnesses, the witnesses of the covenant, are despised. No one is respected. And this is what I felt when I was recalling that message this morning with God in my journaling. This is what I felt. It's just no one respects what it is that I'm doing or what the other witnesses are doing. No one respects it. No one wants it. They're angry about it. They're accusatory. They will condemn God's messengers in order to justify themselves. This is the time we're living in. And if this is the time we're living in, verse 10 says, now I will arise, says the Lord. So in 8, it says, the covenant is broken, its witnesses are despised, no one is respected. So we know the witnesses are here, they are not respected, they are despised, the people don't want to hear their message. All of this violence and arrogance has blossomed, and by verse 10, God says, now I will arise. So any day now, I'm literally sitting here going, my life is nothing. What is there for me to do but wait on you to be revealed? That's it. But wait on the things that you have said to me for you to fulfill them and for you to be revealed. That's it. That's my entire life. I waste away. Now I will arise, says the Lord. Now will I be exalted. Now will I be lifted up. You conceive chaff. You give birth to straw. Your breath is a fire that consumes you. The people will be burned to ashes Like cut thorn bushes, they will be set ablaze. Okay? I've talked to you about a judgment coming. I have. I've talked to him, and then he's brought the judgment. I mean, you can see what it is that he's been bringing on the earth, but there's something coming that is going to cause every leg to be wet with urine, okay? That's what it says in Ezekiel 7. There is something coming that you would not have anticipated. Now, let me show you in Isaiah 24 that it does talk about the covenant, but I'll just read you the whole, the entire chapter, because we're talking about the same thing here, and this is what he spoke to me through. So, see, the Lord is going to lay waste the earth and devastate it. He will ruin its face and scatter its inhabitants. It will be the same for priest as for people, for the master as for his servant, for the mistress as for her servant, for seller as for buyer, for borrower as for lender, for debtor as for creditor. The earth will be completely laid waste and totally plundered. The Lord has spoken this word. The earth dries up and withers, and the world languishes and withers. The heavens languish with the earth. The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. So, what do you think we're talking about? In the absence of talking about any other treaty, it says in chapter 24, it's talking about the everlasting covenant. And then in Isaiah 33, the translators decided to change it to treaty. How's anyone supposed to understand the word when the lying pen of the scribes handles it wrong? We're talking about the covenant. And see, this is part of the problem, is that most of you guys don't even know you have a covenant. It's really sad and scary that you don't know that. You think the definition of a covenant in the word is something that Jesus unilaterally did for you, so you just rest on your laurels and you wait for him to come pick you up. He ain't coming to pick you up. The earth is defiled by its people. They've disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth, and its people must bear their guilt. Therefore, earth's inhabitants are burned up, and very few are left. Okay? He's going to shave you down. The new wine dries up, and the vine withers, the merrymakers groan. The joyful timbrels are stilled. The noise of the revelers has stopped. The joyful harp is silent. No longer do they drink wine with a song. The beer is bitter to its drinkers. The ruined city lies desolate. The entrance to every house is barred. In the streets they cry out for wine. All joy turns to gloom. All joyful sounds are banished from the earth. The city is left in ruins. Its gate is battered to pieces. So will it be on the earth and among the nations, as when an olive tree is beaten, or as when gleanings are left after the grape harvest. They raise their voices, they shout for joy. From the west they acclaim the Lord's majesty. Therefore in the east give glory to the Lord, exalt the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, in the islands of the sea. From the ends of the earth we hear singing, glory to the righteous one. But I said, I waste away, woe to me. The treacherous betray, with treachery the treacherous betray. Terror and pit and snare await you, people of the earth. Whoever flees at the sound of terror will fall into a pit. Whoever climbs out of the pit will be caught in a snare. The floodgates of the heavens are opened. The foundations of the earth shake. The earth is broken up. The earth is split asunder. The earth is violently shaken. The earth reels like a drunkard. It sways like a hut in the wind. So heavy upon it is the guilt of its rebellion that it falls, never to rise again. In that day, the Lord will... Now listen to, in that day. When he says in that day, there should be clues around to tell you what day we talking about. In that day, the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above and the kings on the earth below. When does he punish the powers in the heavens above? Anybody know? Anybody have wisdom about that? We'll read about it in Revelation 12. Go ahead and mark your book. In that day, the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above and the kings on the earth below. They will be herded together like prisoners bound in a dungeon, and they will be shut up in prison and punished after many days. The moon will be dismayed, the sun ashamed. For the Lord Almighty will reign on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem and before its elders with great glory. All right, so in that day, the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above and the kings on the earth below. There's only one time when God is punishing the powers in the heavens above. Only one time where that happens in Scripture, because by the time that happens, he has kicked them out of the heavenly realms. So they're not invited back so he can punish them again in the heavenly realms. There's only one time, guys. And it's that time that I've been telling you we're living through right now. It's that time of which the witnesses are testifying, and the very reason, the second reason why those powers in the heavenly realms are punished and kicked out of the heavenly realms for good. What are those times, people of God? It's when the witnesses testify, because that is the second criteria that's required in order for the devil to be kicked out of the heavenly realms. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon, you're going to find out why. Don't worry that, you don't have to take my interpretation at face value. I will never ask you to do that. I will prove to you. You're going to find out why. Why are they fighting? Why are they kicked out? But you just need to know right now that there's a war going on in heaven, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but they weren't strong enough, or aren't strong enough, and they will lose their place in heaven. The dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. Now, we need to know when this happens. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by 1, the blood of the Lamb, 2, by the word of their testimony." Okay, testimony, witnesses. Now, that's not the only proof I'm going to give you. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Scroll back up, go to verse 6. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. The only other time 1,260 days is mentioned is regarding the witnesses. Okay, so we know that this is referring to the witnesses who did what? Shared by the word of their testimony, did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. So these two criteria are fulfilled. 1, by the blood of the Lamb. 2, by the word of their testimony. And when these criteria are fulfilled, Satan loses his place in heaven. So those powers in the heavenly realms are punished. And though they'll be punished again when Jesus comes back for the Battle of Armageddon, they're going to be punished again. They won't be being punished from the heavenly realms. Do you understand? Okay, this was the message when I started out the video that I was sitting with, and I was like, okay, I know that there's something important here, but I need you to reveal it to me. And God just said, open your mouth and speak. Okay, so that's the message that he constantly gives me, because he doesn't want me figuring this out by my carnality so that I can take credit for it. I never realized this in Isaiah 24. I'm realizing it as I'm speaking it to you. I just want you to know that, because it's not me doing this. It's not by my power or might. It's by God's Spirit, so that I can't boast, so that I can't take credit for it. So I'll just finish up reading this particular section. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them, but woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He's filled with fury because he knows that his time is short. So that begins the Antichrist reign. This is where he kills the witnesses and goes after you. Let's go back to Isaiah 12, verse 21. In that day, the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above and the kings on the earth below. They will be herded together like prisoners bound in a dungeon, and they will be shut up in prison and punished after many days. Now, they're not shut up in prison now. They're shut up in prison after many days. So he comes down to the earth, he reigns, and then he's thrown in prison during the Battle of Armageddon. So what are the days we're talking about here? Why is God bringing me to this? Because he's letting me know. He keeps confirming that this is coming. There is a judgment of which that we just read about. There's a judgment coming in which God is going to lay waste the earth and devastate it. He's going to ruin its face and scatter its inhabitants. It will be the same for priest as for people, master as for his servant, mistress as for her servant, seller as for buyer, borrower as for lender, debtor as for creditor. The earth will be completely laid waste and totally plundered. Do you understand the message? That your gold and silver is not going to save you from this. It will not save you from this. And that's exactly what we read in Ezekiel 7 yesterday. God keeps bringing me to the same message, whether it's in Isaiah or Ezekiel, and not only the same message, but of the same time. You need to know that. And if you don't hear it from what I'm saying, then go back and study it again. And God will reveal it to you. Ask him, is this talking about right now? Let's go to Ezekiel 7. I just want to show you the similarity of what is being said right here and what he led me to yesterday. The end has come upon the four corners of the land. The end is upon you, and I will unleash my anger against you. I will judge you according to your conduct and repay you for all your detestable practices. I will not look on you with pity. I will not spare you. I will surely repay you for your conduct and the detestable practices among you. Okay, he says it a few times, so I'm going to just skip over. I'm going to go to verse 10. See the day, see it comes. Doom has burst forth. The rod has budded. Arrogance has blossomed. Violence is arisen. A rod to punish the wicked. And I shared with you yesterday that he talks about this rod in Isaiah 7 as being the king of Assyria. This is the rod, the club of wrath in his hand. A rod to punish the wicked. None of the people will be left. None of that crowd, none of their wealth, nothing of value. The time has come, the day has arrived. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller grieve, for my wrath is on the whole crowd. The seller will not recover the property that was sold as long as both buyer and seller live, for the vision concerning the whole crowd will not be reversed. Because of their sins, not one of them will preserve their life. That's similar to the message that we just read in Isaiah 24. It's going to be the same for everyone. And again in verse 19, they will throw their silver into the streets. Their gold will be treated as a thing unclean. Their silver and gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. The lie you made your refuge, the security that you hide behind, your insurance, he's already been foiling all of that. Insurance is not covering. They're not honoring their contracts. They're canceling people. Canceling their policies. They've been completely dishonest. Senator Hawley was talking about this, about an investigation that he's been launching into insurance companies. FEMA's not showing up for you. God has already been foiling this lie that you've made your refuge, but you haven't returned to him. Y'all keep scrambling around to trying to get the world to be loyal to you and trying to figure this out through the world because you don't believe in God. Or you'd return to him and he would cause you to follow his laws and keep his decrees, walk in his ways, and he wouldn't have to bring that destruction on you. I'm not saying he won't bring judgment on you. I mean, he does it to me, but he's not doing things like that. When the fires were here, and my neighbors were holding out a hose just to keep the embers from hitting them, I wasn't here. I left. And nothing happened to my yard. I didn't see anything. Any evidence of any fire damage. Not anything being burned in my yard. Or my home. But I had to believe in him to leave. And I also, that night, I told you what I did that night when the fires, when I walked outside of my house and, these embers were coming down and it was like right by, it burning on that mountain that's like 2 houses up from my house. And I heard the police outside on their speakers saying, you need to evacuate. I went and took a bath because I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision and that I wasn't doing something because I was scared, but I was doing something because that's what God told me to do. And I sat in the bath until I worked it out with him. And the reason I put myself in the bath is because I didn't want to be working it out with him while I was doing something by the work of my hands like packing. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in him to that extent? Because I don't have homeowners insurance. So I could have very well, justified, well, I need to stay here to protect my home, right? But I didn't. I left and I knew that he was going to take care of my home. You know why? Because in smaller things like the cold that you hear right now, the quote unquote cold, this judgment, this thing that he's bringing on me right now, I return to him in those smaller things so he doesn't have to bring bigger things. I understand that when he sends that to me, that what he's doing is telling me, you need to get in deeper. You need to return to me. And I might think, well, good grief, Lord. I mean, am I not with you every day? But I can't lean on my own understanding. When he does this, I have to say, okay, there's some place that I need to examine myself, because there's either some place I'm running away or there's some place that I don't realize that I'm not getting deep enough. I promise you guys that if you do that, if you take him seriously and you actually do that, he's not going to bring anything greater on you, because he won't need to. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 33 tells us that he doesn't bring grief willingly, but he brings it in, and you should read that whole chapter about affliction and how he brings that affliction, and how the lamenter in that chapter understands that they've been afflicted by God for God's purpose. But in verse 33, you also discover that they understand that he doesn't bring grief willingly. And so if you just return to him or remain in him, he's not going to have to bring more on you than is necessary. But I want you to know, you should expect a fiery ordeal. You should expect that you're being purified, made spotless, and refined. God didn't call you because you were righteous. God called you to set you apart to be righteous, to become holy as he is holy. Okay, so what I want you to know is that I've been calling out to God specifically about these things that he has spoken with me about, that he's had me speak about, the judgments that he's had me speak about, the razor of judgment, sword, famine, wild beast, plague, that he speaks about in Revelation 6, in Jeremiah, in Ezekiel, in Isaiah. I've spoken with you about it. I've done series on this. No secondary gain for doing that. There's literally no reason other than this being my duty to do that I speak this to you. You need to know that. I have not compromised what God has me doing for anything. And there have been a couple of people that, to be honest, I believe that God sent to test me, who had the means to be able to donate. And there were times when I told them, then when I refused their donations, and for various reasons, I had question about motives. I didn't want it to be a stumbling block, because I believed that one person thought they could buy their way into heaven, or that they weren't understanding how to properly give, or they thought this was tithing, and I refused. Or people who wanted me to do this their way. I don't do this if God is the one who has me doing this, why would I listen to man tell me how to do this? I have not compromised at all. And those people are no longer here because they didn't like the things that I said, because I did not compromise. While God may move someone to provide a gift, no gift has ever or will ever dictate the way that I do things on this channel. And so when I say that God tested me, he needed to test me to make sure that I wasn't going to dumb down or give preference or do any of those things, or be afraid, oh, well, I don't have an income, Lord, and this person is doing blah, blah, blah. Nope. I have stayed true. And anyone who really knows me on this channel, has had any kind of experience with me, they would testify to that. If God requires me to rebuke, it doesn't matter what you've given. He's gonna make me rebuke or correct. And so what he's testing is the genuineness of my belief that he is the one who takes care of me, not someone he has sent to provide some sort of gift. He can move whoever he wants, but I have to, at the end of the day, I have to know that that comes from him, but that none of that is supposed to dictate what I'm doing. I can't fear anything but God. All right, this is the message that God is speaking to me today. Please go and discern it with him. Ask him if this is true, what I'm telling you. I ask him, even though he's spoken something to me, if he's not fulfilling it right away, which he never does, he never does, because he doesn't fulfill it right away, and he requires me to wait for him to be revealed, I'm constantly asking him, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? And he gives me the confirmation. He gives me the affirmation that what he has spoken is true, and he will give me the clues that I showed you of the timing of when this is going to happen. So I know it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen before I die, which means it's going to happen in the next 4 months. And when I say to you any day now, I literally mean it could happen any day now, between now and in the next 4 months. And the reason it's happening is because this is the last opportunity you'll be given to come in. It's the last effort that God is making to bring you low. So you think it's going to be big, or you think it's going to be a little dinky bringing you low. No, it's going to be big. It's the last thing he's going to do to bring you low so that you will actually return to him. Please discern it with him.